Good evening. It's great to be here again. We decided that tonight, since we have all girls, we'll talk about subjects that relates to girls. And of course, everyone that has a question or anything that they want to talk about, that's the opportunity now to bring it up. And we'll talk about what you're interested to hear. As you know, from the moment Hashem created the world, after Adam was made, HaKadosh Baruch Hu took Chava, Eve, and brought her to help Adam HaRishon to be Ezer Kenegdo. Chazal told us something that I'm sure you heard before, that Ezer Kenegdo, it's a conditional blessing. It's not necessarily a blessing. Sometimes it's Ezer, sometimes it's Kenegdo. Depends who is the man. The conclusion of this discussion by Chazal, the final conclusion is that the woman really, in a way, it's like the mirror of her husband. A mirror. Whatever the husband is, that's what his wife reflects back to him. We say in Shir LaMa'alot, Hashem tzilcha al yad yaminecha. Hashem is your shadow on your right side. Which means a person walking in the street, every move he makes, he sees on the floor the shadow of his body. He moves his hand, he sees himself on the floor. In the old days, when they used to come out of the shul on Yom Kippur, or actually it was in Hoshana Rabbah in the night, they used to know by the shadow of the body, if the person will have a good year, if he's going to live, if he's going to die. That's how clever they used to be. Today we don't pay attention too much to the shadow, but one thing we should know, this pasuk, Hashem tzilcha al yad yaminecha, the secret of this is that the same way, whatever you do, your shadow will do always the same, it's equal. That's what Hashem wanted to teach us. What you do, that's what you get. I'm like your shadow. You're good, I'm good with you. You're not so good, I'm going to teach you a lesson. What? Measure for measure. That's the secret here. Midah keneged midah. Today, I want to focus on the most important thing in the life of a Jewish female. Who knows what it is? I'm sure you heard it before, but let's hear. Oh, everybody knows, Baruch Hashem. But that's not the only thing I want to speak about. But I wanted to make it clear to each one of you. When we review, I'm not talking non-religious girls. It's not a lot to talk about that, because they are not aware of how serious is this law of tzniut, the law of modesty. It's not a joke. They don't know. They don't have an idea. Some of them never heard of it. Some of them heard about it, but they don't take it so serious. I'm talking those who understand the Torah is the word of Hashem. Those who understand that the pasuk Ayin ro'av ozen shomat v'chol ma'asecha b'sefer nichtavim, there's an eye who watch over you and a ear that listens to you, and everything you do is being registered in a book of Hashem. If somebody understands that it's real, then my next question is, how is it possible that today it's almost impossible, and believe me, I promise you I'm not exaggerating, it's almost impossible to find one modest Jewish lady, no matter where you go. It's almost impossible. Even those Jewish ladies that are really trying, most of them do not know their requirements. And sometimes when you approach them, when you have the guts to come and say, hey, you know that this is not the right way and this is not permitted, they really innocent. They just didn't know. They thought that it's 100% according to the law. And they just found out that what they wear is basically almost as bad as someone who wears pants on the street or things like this. They just didn't know. So we have two problems here. Most Jewish ladies never learn seriously the laws of modesty. I'm saying seriously, not from rumors, from that rabbi one word, from the other one word, from the teacher in school, from the Rebbitzin, a combination of rumors, and now she decided that this is the right way. No, I'm saying serious, from A to Z, up to where, the measurement, how tight is allowed to be, if bichlal, to be tight, and all these laws, how long, what colors, anything written on the clothing. Most of the girls don't know it. You sometimes see even girls that they are baalei tshuva, baalot tshuva for maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 years even. Even after 10 years, she's a mother already, she has kids in yeshivot, she has kids that are much like rabbis already, and she's still never been modest one day of her life. Why? Not that she doesn't want. She really means well. She's just ignorant in this particular subject. She never learned it. She may know the law of Shabbat, she may know all the laws of kashrut, what's allowed, what's not allowed, what happened if she used the wrong knife. She maybe learned that. But when it comes to the most important thing, the Satan is doing his best. He is putting all his efforts to make the Jewish kosher ladies, I repeat, I'm not talking girls on the street that never learn Torah and they do not know the purpose of life. These people, every second of their life is a waste of time. They're not even touching the purpose that they were created for. What do they live for? Just to eat, to drink, to walk, to go shopping, to change clothing, to put makeup, to go to the beach, to swim. What's their life is for? Everything they do, the chimpanzees in a forest, they have it from the moment they're born. They don't need to go to work, they don't have to pay mortgage, they don't have all this headache that people have. Hashem created all these animals, they have it right away. They swim, they have sports, they don't need to work 30 years to buy a house. There's no competition. Over there, everything is easy. But for us, we have to work very hard until we get it. But those who do not know the purpose of life, no, how can you complain to them? Nobody ever taught them. The truth is that most of them don't really want to know. You know those people that hiding the truth from themselves? The prophet already had an expression for those people. How did he call them? Ki samnu kazav machseinu. Samnu kazav. What's kazav mean? An illusion, a lie. We are hiding behind our lies and illusions. We made like a screen and we go and hide behind it because we are not interested to know the truth. Problem is that not knowing the truth and doing the wrong thing, it's very, very painful to us later on. Not knowing, that doesn't mean the reality is going to change. Once a person told me, but I don't understand, it's not fair. I didn't know it's not permitted. Why do I have to pay the price now? So I told him, I'll give you a mashal. What's the mashal? If I'm giving you now water, and I put a little poison in it, poison. And this poison, eventually, not right away, it will take some time until slowly it's going to develop some kind of sickness, and you will feel worse and worse by months. Every month worse than before. So he didn't know. He drank. Now when he found out that what he just drank had poison, he complains a lot. It's not fair. I didn't know. I didn't know it's poison. Why do I have to suffer? Not knowing does not change the reality. That's a very common mistake that people do. They think, if I knew, then I deserve to get punished. I knew, I ignore God's laws, I rebel against Him, God was good to me, I was ungrateful to Him, and if I did it wrong, you know what, even though it's painful, even though I'm not happy for my situation, but I have to be honest, I really deserve it. Most people would agree in the end, I really deserve it. Not always right away, but after a while, if they will be honest with themselves, they know I deserve even worse. And that's what I got, thank God it's only this. But the people who did not know, they never stopped to complain. It's not fair. Why do I get punished for something I didn't know? So the truth is that, remember, not knowing does not change the reality. There's a question between the Chachamim about eating worms. Eating worms. Everybody knows that every worm, it's not just not kosher. It's few different sins from the Torah. What's worse? To eat pork or to eat a very, very little tiny bug. You can hardly see it. Mamash, it's very hard to see it, like a little green one on the ladders. You really, really need a good eye in the sun to see it. Or if you put it on a white sheet and later on you see it came off the ladders. You just ate a little dot. Or a major piece of pork. What's worse?
The bug.
The bug. 6 times worse.
Why?
Because there are 6 different sins relates to this bug. If he's flying, it's worse. If he's crawling, different. The Torah have different verses, different restrictions about this bug. One after the other. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one in a different language, which all together combine 6 different sins. So when a person does one little transaction like this, you consider 6. If you eat 100 like this, sometimes on one piece of letters you can have hundreds of those. If you don't wash it good and clean it, or you go to restaurants that are not reliable, you thought that you're eating glad kosher. The mashgiach over there is a crook. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to do his job. He just take them, they wash them just 1, 2, 3, wants to go smoke his cigar. And you go and you think, wow, I'm so strict when it comes to kosher. I pay 3, 4 times more than other restaurants because I want to be tzadeket. And one piece of letters, this size, can have hundreds of those bugs. Multiply by 6, 600 steaks of pork in 2 seconds. And that's the truth. And now here is the dilemma. The Torah said that every worm that is impossible to see with normal eye, and for that you need like a telescope, there's no way to see it with your eyes. Put it, you try the best, you cannot see it. So you are not guilty as far as the sin. You did your best, you washed, you checked. There's no way to see. You cannot see. What can you do? You are not obligated to bring a microscope and check the letters now. Even though some people do it, they don't want to take a risk, but you're not obligated. That's the halakha. Comes the question of Chazal. Pay attention to this question. You learn a lot from it. The Chachamim were arguing about a different subject. What's the different subject is? The Torah told us that a person that eats worms, shkatzim, remasim, things that crawl on the floor and all those things, it makes his mind completely contaminated. Dumb, foolish, is losing his sense of detecting the truth and the false. His mind is mixed. That's actually making his personality and his ability lower and lower. The question is, what did God mean by that? Only those that we are guilty of? So that's like a spiritual curse? Or that's reality? Whether you're guilty, whether you're not guilty, you ate worms, you become a tumtam. What do you think is the answer? If you would have to answer a question, if you would be a rabbi, and one of your students would ask you, Rabbi, when I eat worms that I cannot see, do I still become a tumtam? Is it still make me defected in my brain, or it doesn't have any impact on me since I obviously couldn't see them? Does it go by how much I'm guilty, or it's reality and that's it? Guilty, not guilty, it's reality. What do you think? According to some of the important rabbis, it's an argument. So I don't know. We do not know the answer until Mashiach comes. But according to some of the most important rabbis that we had in a history, what happened is that they are poskim la'alacha that even if you're not guilty, it's reality and that's it. There's nothing you can do about it. That's it. So now this is when a person is not guilty. It's needless to say when he's guilty, that's another problem. So either way, there is an effect. It makes an impact on our life and our decisions in life by not being careful what we bring to our mouth. The Torah says that we have to watch our mouth. It's called tarte mashma. There's 2 meanings to it. One meaning, not to speak lashon hara. But the real meaning is to make to be careful, to make sure never ever to eat something that is not strictly kosher. The impact that non-kosher food makes on our life, it's such a disaster that if we only knew it, we will never dare to eat in non-reliable places. Now you have to remember, the only time a person can be 100% sure that he's really eating kosher if he took care of the food from A to Z. If it was depend on other people, maybe yes, maybe not. Maybe yes, maybe not. I'll give you an example. If you fly to Israel on a plane, and you want your tefillin for sure to get to Israel with you, because you're going to need it there. If you put it in a suitcase, maybe you will get there, maybe not. Sometimes the suitcase never get there. They go to Pakistan instead. Bin Laden needs maybe tefillin there. But if you put it in your own bag, now you know it's my responsibility, I'm bringing it. If it's up to me, I'm going to make sure it gets there. If it's up to them, maybe you will, maybe you won't. That's a message for life. Im en ani li mili, Chazal says. If I'm not going to worry about my fortune, my future, nobody will do it for me. Not my children, not my parents. They care for me. They will try their best. Nobody cares for others like he cares for himself. That's the rule. That's it. Person loves himself the most. Not only that, we have an obligation to worry about ourselves before we worry about anybody else. Did you know that? If two people walk in a desert, and there's just enough water to save the life of one of them, and you have the water, and this is the person that you love the most in the world, like your brother, your sister, your best friend, whatever you want to call it, and there's water enough just to save one person. If you split, you both die. If you give it to him, he'll survive, you die. If you drink, you get saved, and you go there and then you cry for your friend. What's the right way to do? Torah says, chayecha kodmim. When it comes to your life, don't be generous. We are not talking about not ordinary cases of Kiddush Hashem, that is mitzvah to jump into the fire, or to let them slaughter you just to sanctify the name of Hashem because they wanted you to bow down to an idol. I'm not talking an exception to the rule. We're talking ordinary. Your life comes first. Chayecha kodmim. Chayecha kodmim. Your life comes first. Let's make order about what we said so far. A person sometimes is going to other places to eat in restaurant. He pays a lot more money. He's counting on their meat. There's no guarantee that the meat is kosher. We saw what happened 2 years ago in Muncie, when one person for about 10 years was selling people taref, like dog meat. Not even kosher. There are arguments, what's the best kashrut? 70%, 80, 90, 100. Everybody argued that's kashrut is better than this. Pay a few more dollars, buy this. But his meat was regular meat like you buy in Petmark. Meat, chicken. The best rabbis in Muncie were trusting him, and what happened in the end? A disaster. So that's one thing. Second, a woman has few responsibility that the entire house is depend on her decision and her intuition. One thing, first of all, the food that she's going to cook in a house. It's her children, it's her husband, it's the guest. Everybody, chas v'shalom, can make sins because she's not kosher enough. She's not strong enough. So now she's not in a category of a sinner. She's choteh umachti. Sinner for herself, that's one category. Making others eat not kosher, it's a worse category. Because you can beg Hashem to forgive you for your personal sins, and maybe He will. But how are you going to save all the people that got damaged by you? Do you think that the next day you remember who was there yesterday to eat by you, or by your restaurant, or in your kitchen? So that's one thing that a Jewish lady should be worried. Since she's the cook, since in the next 30, 40 years of her life, she's going to feed thousands of meals to people, and it's going to be a lot of people that are eating in her kitchen sooner or later, on Shabbos, in weekdays. Since that's the case, she has extra responsibility for the life of others. Now you may tell me, don't be so extreme. We're not talking about life and death here. So you should know what the Torah says. Gadol amachti'o. What's the rest? Who knows the rest? Gadol amachti'o yoter meorgo. Translation. A Jew that make another Jew committing a sin, influence him, convince him, drag him to a place of a sin. His sin of influencing the other one is worse than killing him. You may say, why? Why Hashem is so strict? All I did is convince her to come with me to the disco. It was a party. We wanted to see some nice guys, Persian guys, you know, they came from LA. What's the problem, Rabbi? What can I do? If it was up to me, maybe I would write the Torah in a different way. Nobody asked me when Hashem wrote the Torah, what's my opinion? I also didn't have the power of objecting. No objection. Hashem didn't care about my opinion. He just told me, A, B, C, D, you listen, you win. You don't listen, you lose. That's all. I'm in your side. Whatever I tell you, I actually tell myself, really. Tell myself. We work in the same side, but somebody has to wake up his friends, no? Someone has to do the job. Chazal say, "B'makom she'en ish, ishtadel liot ish." In a place there's nobody to tell people the truth, volunteer, and you do the job. Don't worry about pride. You be humbled when it's necessary. When there's nobody to tell people what needs to be done, jump. I'm the leader right now. Follow me. That's the right way. If not, everybody will be buried. At least you save them with you. So first responsibility is the kitchen. What you buy, where you buy. Some people, when they go to the restaurant, how do they decide if it's good or not? They see inside if there's somebody with yarmulke or not. They see someone with yarmulke. Oh, here, I see a rabbi over there. Look, black hat's eating here. So let's go in. How do you know? Maybe that black hat was fooled. All it needs that one religious person will make a scene. He had a strong desire that day. He goes to not such a kosher restaurant. Another one will see him, and another one will see them. And it's going to go from word to mouth, and people can eat there for years, and not one person asks the owner of the restaurant, can I see if your place is kosher or not? You'll be surprised. I used to know a guy. He was a fake religious person. He was just putting the yarmulke in his restaurant, but in his home he was Mechalel Shabbos. He didn't care about anything. Even he was making fun at religion. That's how bad he was. One time I caught him red-handed. How he's speaking on the phone to somebody in Brooklyn that he's going to give him $1,000 bribe to send him a certificate of kashrut with someone, with a taxi driver, to put by the window. And the meat there is not kosher. After I heard that, I said to myself, what am I going to do now? I have to really stand here now and avoid all the religious people from coming in. It's not realistic. What am I going to do? I'm going to stay there for the rest of my life? What am I going to do? So one time I passed by, I saw a friend of mine with a steak inside. So I ran inside. I said, come, I want to tell you something. Don't eat here ever again. The people will see my friend eating there. They will go in. You got to check. Sometimes they get kashrut and the rabbi catch them doing something wrong and they take it away from them. But they continue to use the old one. Either they forge the dates or they just leave the old dates since nobody really checks. So that's something to be careful about. But we're not talking about restaurants. That's one issue. We're talking what you bring into the house. Some people tell me, Rabbi, inside the house we kosher, but when you go out, we're not so kosher. Why? The soul is the same souls. The sin is the same sin. Hashem doesn't care really if you made the sin in your house or across the street by the restaurant. It goes by what you ate, not where you ate. And that's a big problem. So people have to be careful. Now, many things in your life will be determined on the way you dress and the way you behave. Modesty, it's not only the size of your skirt and how modest you dress. That's only a part of modesty. Modesty, it's a combination of many different things. I hope you're going to write it down that you remember. The most important thing, of course, is the clothing. For Hashem is very important how a woman is dressed. Yes, you may say, who cares? Anyway, I'm not so pretty. Anyway, nobody is looking at me. I did everything provocative that I could, and not one man ever spoke to me. So, you know what? Since it never happened in the last 5 years, nobody cares how I dress. I don't make any guys make scenes. Leave me alone. It's convenient for me like this. Wrong. Wrong. There are two different categories here. First, what you did right or wrong, and for that you get reward or punishment. That's one category. Second, you're right. What came out of your actions, it's a separate category. If you got lucky, nothing bad happened, so now in that category, you don't have that much to pay. But if 1,000 guys on the street that day look at you, you made a special efforts to look provocative that day, what happened? Each one of them that thought about you, or say a word, or it leads him to do other sin, goes to your account. Does it pay to do it? Once I had in a lecture a girl that was strongly against what I was saying. She didn't like it. Usually the nature of the people is that when they hear something that bothers them, they're against it. Whether it's the truth, not the truth, it's not so important at that moment. It bothers them because they know he's talking about them. They want to fight to argue against it. For instance, cigarettes. When we argue in the yeshiva if cigarettes is a sin from the Torah or not, because the Torah said that a person has to watch his health very carefully. So everything that damages the health, it's a sin from the Torah. If a person eats something knowing it's going to shorten his life, is making right now a sin from the Torah. Same thing like eating pork. Different sin. That's not permitted, that's not permitted. So until, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, they didn't really know that cigarettes is a cancer. It's 80 different sicknesses. Some thought that it's maybe healthy. It gives us a softer stomach. Oh, I don't know what's going on here tonight. 15 phone calls in 10 minutes. Too much. I gotta better shut it off. I guess the Satan is really worried from this lecture. Yes, you should know one thing. When you give a lecture, and there's many things that trying to avoid this lecture, many interference, problem, the phone is ringing, the children begins to scream, to cry, the phone is ringing, every second someone gets in the door, everyone turns around, the microphone doesn't work, and all that, then you know that something is really happening positive that night. If everything goes smooth, no interference whatsoever, beautiful, then you know the Satan is smoking his cigar, laughing, these people wasting their time. Remember, when something good is happening, the Satan is nervous. Because what's his job? His job, Hashem created him, his job is to do the opposite of what we're supposed to do. His job is to make us sin as much as possible. Not once, it's not enough. He starts with once. It was easy, he goes to the second one. That's called Avera Goreret Avera. One sin leads to the other. That's his job. Gemara say one time there was a rabbi, his name is Flamo. We'll get to the girl in a minute. So the Flamo, he used to say, may Hashem, may an arrow goes right in between the eyes of the Satan. He used to curse the Satan. Satan got angry at him. The Satan said, I'm going to teach this rabbi a lesson. One time, Erev Yom Kippur, hours before the fast began, the Satan came in a costume, like an old person. He's like leprosy, pus all over his face. He comes to the door, to the rabbi, says, can you give me food? You know, I'm hungry. So, okay, wait 1 second. The rabbi got disgusted. Okay, no problem, I'm giving you food. The rabbi goes. By the time the rabbi turns around to give him the food, the Satan walked in. Now, he doesn't know it's the Satan. He looks like an old person. He fell on the floor, and he died. He goes like this, oh, my heart. So the rabbi got very nervous. The rabbi begins to hear now noises outside. Remember, he's a Satan, he's an angel. He can do whatever he wants. He has the ability. He begins to hear people are screaming, Flamo killed a poor person in his house. Flamo killed a poor person in his house. He got very nervous. Erev Yom Kippur, now the people are going to come to arrest him. He started to run out of his house. He ran to the bathroom. In the old days, the bathroom was not like here today. You come home, You press the button, light, mirror, ceramic, marble. Better than the palace of the king in their days. The king of 2,000 years ago, his palace wasn't so fancy like your bathrooms at home here. You should know that. But anyway, in the old days, they didn't have bathroom. There are two ways to go to the bathroom. One is there were public bathroom out of the border of the town. They made like a special hill for the men. The men goes on top of the hill and they send their taxes all the way down to the IRS, but it was very deep. But for the ladies, it was a disaster because, you know, there's no electric. They have to go with oil, with fire, the snakes, scorpions, all kinds of problems. Some people, they were lazy. They didn't want to go all the way to the place. So they used to go to the forest, to a place. You know, there were trees and stuff. And there were no toilet paper, you know, tissue bags. You go like this, you have tissue, beautiful. No, we used to take pieces of grass. That's how it was. That's how life was. Could be a billionaire is going to the bathroom like a dog. Oh, Baruch Hashem. It's a good sign. I was worried until now. Very good. No, I tell you, I went to Shabbaton 2 weeks ago. As everyone was eating, the babies didn't make a beep. Just when I got up to talk, 5, 6 babies screaming all over. I couldn't hear myself. And everybody got upset, you know, put the babies away. I said, no, don't worry, it's a good sign. I speak and the babies are screaming. Just when I finish, the babies relax, everything is fine. So anyway, Flemo now ran to the bathroom. Erev Yom Kippur is hiding in a bathroom. Then the Satan came to him, knocked on the door, opened the door, he sees him again. How did he know? This poor man, he was dead. You see the poor man knocking in his bathroom, open the door. He sees him inside, I said, don't worry. I'm the Satan. I'm not a real person. But I only came because you're getting on my nerve. If you would be a big tzaddik, I would already kill you a long time ago. So Flamo said, what do you want? You're making me a lot of problems, so I said that the arrow will go in between your eyes. He said, no, don't do that. You're getting me mad. The Satan has feelings. One time, Rabbi Aderet gave a lecture. So, it was in Seudah Shlishit, in Shal Shudas, in a shul. So, Rabbi Aderet said that the Satan has a wife. According to Kabbalah, there's male and female. It's a couple. So I have a friend, he's by now 46 years old, not married. So he said to Rabbi Aderet, you see, even the Satan has a wife. Anyway, what can you do when Hashem doesn't want? Anyway, we go back to this girl. She said, why you always think that when a girl is provocative and she puts a lot of makeup and she dresses, you know, with this kind of clothes, why do you always think that she does it for the men on the street? Why? I do it because I want to feel great with myself. I don't care about the guys in the street. They're watching, they don't watch. I really don't care. I do it to feel great. So I told her, I want to ask you a question, but be honest. If you would fall in the island with your plane, everybody died and you're the only survivor, and you have your makeup, everything is with you, and now you see chimpanzees, lions, elephants, no people, only birds, snakes on the trees. You're alone there, you're eating fruit, there's nobody there, you're searching around, no people, this entire island, you're alone. How long exactly you would waste every morning to put your makeup for the elephants and the monkeys? Would you touch your makeup? She said no. I say, you see? So why are you putting makeup every day, half an hour? To attract attention from the men. What's the proof? When you go on a date, how long you go to the bathroom to fix your hair and to put your lipstick and this? Every 5 minutes, excuse me. What's this? Where does it come from? To attract attention. So, don't get me wrong. If it's a serious date and you want this guy to be your husband, you're allowed to look pretty to him. It's no problem. It's not a sin to be pretty. After you get married, is a very important mitzvah to the woman to look top of the line for her husband only. I repeat, not for the supermarket Vinny and Richie and Tony. For her husband only. Today, unfortunately, it's the opposite. Remember, I'm only talking religious girls. Non-religious girls, I don't have a hope that in a conversation like this we can change things. We have to work a lot harder there. I'm talking those who know that it's important, modesty. But let's see if I'm right or wrong. The average religious woman today, when her husband come home after a day in his office with problem, with arguments, with courts, with conventions, whatever, how does he find his wife? Big chaluk, shmate, hair all over, whatever, the cover, it's like this, nothing. No makeup for him. She's already oily from all day, cooking and watching the kids, and she's falling asleep on the couch. That's the average house today. But if now she got a phone call that tomorrow her son has a birthday party or is the Shabbos Chassan, you know, she has to go to the supermarket now to grab some things for tomorrow's party. What happened? She put her shadel right away, 20 minutes. What is she doing? She's going to buy bread, milk, a few pieces. She goes, all the amigos in the supermarket have a fashion show. For her husband, nothing, not even once a year. For the amigos, plenty of shows. Mamash like Hashem wanted it, of course. Make sense or not? So why we are like this? What's the reason? Who could? Wow, now I have a problem.
I think the reason why people do it, like women do that, is because they think that their husbands love them, like, for themselves, not because of the makeup or what they're wearing.
I have news for you. First of all, the woman should know that since her husband has only one wife, she has to work very, very hard in her lifetime to satisfy her husband and to make sure that the husband loves her very much all the time and never dare to look not good once even in front of him. Because she has no idea what a damage it can cause, especially in this slow generation that we live in today. If the woman is not pretty enough for her husband, and her husband is not such a strong person that doesn't learn a lot of Torah and Musar, the distance between here to cheating and to make sins is very, very short. And she has a part of the guilt here, because she's almost as guilty as him, because she could have avoided the sin. If a person could avoid a sin of another Jew and he does not do it, the Torah says he is guilty as the other one. Where does it say it? Ocheach tochiach et amitecha, v'lo tisa alav chet. And also it says, Lo ta'amod al dam re'echa. Do not stand next to the blood of your brother. You have to do everything to avoid it. It's an expression. It means you have to do everything to stop the Jew from committing a sin. I'll give you an example. If a Jew walks in the street and he meets you on the street and he says, hey, you know, I just bought this Hugo Boss suit. Two friends, Reuven and Shimon. I just bought this Hugo Boss suit. What do you have to do right away? Who knows? Shatnez for sure. Hugo Boss makes sure to put shatnez in all his suits. It's Jews. He found out that the Jews are dying from cancer from this. He puts it in all his suits. Plus, it makes the suit better quality. It's not wrinkled. Most designers like to put shatnez also. But when they don't have it, they don't have it. So some of their suits have it, like Armani. Some of them has it, some don't. Other good suits sometimes have, with him, from 1,000 suits, maybe one doesn't have. That's the statistic. So if you know a Jew just bought Hugo Boss, every second now, as you speak to him, it's a sin from the Torah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since the Torah say all the Jews are brothers, it's all one family, you gotta love him like you love yourself. What's the right thing to do right now? Grab it away from his body. Even if he doesn't want, give him one and take it away, and you just save him from the suit. Later, he may sue you for the damage. Maybe the suit fell on the floor, whatever, the dry clean. You did a big mitzvah now, because you perhaps prevented about 20 or 30,000 sins that this Jew would make that day by continuing to wearing it. We have guys coming to us for Yom Kippur for the first time in their life. They come to Muncie. First thing I do, I check their suits. Why? Because in the holidays, everyone almost buy new suits. And some of the suits are designer suits. The more expensive the suit, the chances that it has sharpness is higher and higher. So we have sharpness free, it's okay. But they don't know what sharpness is. Wool and linen mix. It's for boys and girls. Even a sweater, a jacket, everything that has wool has a potential that have linen inside. Inside the collar, or they sew it with linen. So sometimes they wear it, and you know what happened? The prayer does not get accepted for 40 days if a person wears sharpness. You know, when you go on a plane, did you ever think why when you stand outside the plane, it's so noisy? But as soon as you walk one step into the plane, what happened? It becomes very quiet. 1 second outside of the plane, it was very noisy. Wow, you cannot hear the noise. Today, they have this special tunnel that you go through and you go into the plane. But in the old days, they used to bring stairs. In Israel, they come with a special car with stairs. You give them your suitcase and you climb the stairs and you walk into the plane. Before you get to the plane, you're climbing the stairs. The noise is unbelievable. The noise, the wind. Just you walk in, silent. What's the secret? Inside the walls of the plane, they have sharpness, wool and linen mixed. It blocks the voice, it blocks everything. It's the best isolation that they put inside the walls. Also in houses, in new construction, you see that wool that they put inside?
You're allowed to live like that?
Huh?
You're allowed to stay inside?
It's no problem as long as you don't wear it. Not to wear it, that's the sin. So I'm just giving you an example. So now, how did we get to sharpness? I don't know sometimes how I travel from one to the other. Try to take the LIE, I find myself in Manhattan. Yeah.
For people who probably don't know, can you explain the reason why that's supposed to be?
The truth is that the real reason only Hashem knows. But the reason that we know is that since Cain killed Abel, Cain brought God. Cain was what? He was a farmer. So he was growing linen. Linen is growing from the ground. Like cotton, there's linen. And Abel was a shepherd. So Abel cut the best wool from his sheep and brought it to Hashem, sacrificed it to Hashem. Cain cut just linen from his farm, from his, linen that he had, and he brought it. Hashem accepted the gift that Abel brought, and because of that, Cain got very angry. That's one of the reasons. There's few different reasons. That's one of the reasons. He murdered his brother. So Hashem said, because of wool and linen, the first murder in a creation occurred, they can never touch one another. They can't get mixed, wool and linen. That's one of the reasons. There are many other reasons. Remember, if a person ever asks you, what's the real reason for these mitzvot, the answer will be, because this is the way Hashem wanted it. We'll never know. Only Hashem knows the reason for these mitzvot, especially those mitzvot that the Torah says, Zo chukat Torah. This is the law of the Torah. Why is it? Only Hashem knows. And it's very good. You know why? Because if all the laws you would be able to understand easily, it makes it human. The fact that more than 80% of the mitzvot you have no idea why Hashem made it, makes you realize that it's divine laws. Let's go back to our subject. So modesty, remember, it's going, first of all, it's the clothing. The clothing. Second is talking to other men. Sometimes girls, they're modest in their clothes, but they're too friendly. And they don't really realize that guys sometimes misunderstand the message that the lady is giving him. She's just a friendly person, but he doesn't realize that that's the case. He may understand something else from being too socialized. It's against the halakha. A woman should be socialized with her husband, with her children. But that's just about it, not with another man. Plus, like I started to say, she has to be very pretty for her husband. The halakha is, you should know that a person, the Torah says that a person can never get married to another woman, to a woman before he check her beauty, if he love her or not, if he's attracted to her or not. This was written in a time when every one of these rabbis were holier than the angels. And still, they warned, do not marry a woman even though you don't care. Do not, because you care only about Torah. No, don't do that. First check, look at her, you like her, you feel that you can communicate with her, marry her. Why? Because some of the rabbis say to a shaliach, to a messenger, find me a good kosher woman, tell her that I want to marry her, give her kiddushin, fine. Tell me when is the date of the wedding, I'll show up. So that Gemara said, don't do that. One rabbi 40 years ago did it in Israel. I don't want to mention his name. It's one of the Gdolei Ador. Those who knows who I'm talking about. He met his wife only in a chuppah. But in the chuppah, he didn't want to cancel the shidduch. So he married her knowing he doesn't like her. And he suffered from her all his life. She was not normal. All his life he suffered. He never had children. And everybody who came to him to ask him questions, he was a huge Talmid Chacham, wrote many books. Everybody knows who he is. Everyone who came to his house to ask him questions, she pushed him out. She didn't let them in. He had to come from the window. He was answering them from the window. And they asked him, why you don't divorce her? Why? And he said, I will never take the risk of hurting another Jew. Suffer all his life with her. Maybe he didn't suffer because in his level, it's different world. And he never got divorced. There was one case like this in Europe, that exactly the same case, when the Khatan came to the chuppah, he saw that he doesn't like the girl. He saw something that he didn't see before. And in the middle, when they preparing for the chuppah, what happened? He ran away. He ran away. Inside, everyone is waiting for him to walk into the chuppah. He turns around and he ran away. So guess what? The rabbi that was standing there, he said, anybody here wants to marry her? That's the true story. And one person say yes. He didn't want her to get embarrassed, because not all the people realize what happened. He jumped and married her. And the rabbi is one of the Gdolei Ador. He gave him such a bracha. He gave him a list of brachot. All the brachot that the rabbi gave him under the chuppah happened to him. He had the best children, the best life, they lived long life, and they were happily married and loved each other. So it was a miracle from Shammai. One time, one guy came to the Chazon Ish in Bnei Brak. He said, Rabbi, I have a neighbor, he's such a jealous person. Every time I'm going on a shidduch, the girls like me very much. The next day, I'm sure, what's the point? I'm going to call the Shadchan, she's going to agree to go second time. What happened? Not once. I started to investigate what's going on. The meeting went very well, the date. What happened the next day? And I found out that he's following me. And every time he sees which girl I'm dating, he finds out where she is and he runs and he tells her all the lies in the world about me. And obviously when a girl hears such things that he makes up at me, she doesn't want to even see me ever again. It's like this, I'll never get married. The Chazon Ish told him, he's only doing to you what Hashem wants to happen to you. When the time for you to get married with the right girl will arrive, don't worry. He will not see there. If necessary to make him temporary blind, Hashem will do it for you, don't worry. When the right shidduch will come, you'll have it. One time he went out with a girl, and he saw she's agreed to go second time and third time. And then right after that, they got engaged. So far, so good. The night of the wedding, he was nervous. Oh, few more hours, I'll make it. As he comes and says, Areat mekudeshet li, once he puts the ring, the guy walked into the place. No! He's this, he's a liar, he's this, he's a thief. The guy goes like this, it's too late. It happened in Bnei Brak. What happened? Where was he for the last 2 months? Hashem got him busy. that he won't see. If it's yours, it's yours. If it's not yours. Also, another major mistake that people do, they pray for a specific shidduch, which is very dangerous. If you like this guy Avi, that doesn't mean he's your soulmate. Remember, it doesn't mean that he's your soulmate. So if you pray to Hashem every day when you go to daven or when you read Tehillim, Hashem, please make this Avi pay attention to me. Do a nesir, I'm trying to do everything I can, but this guy is in his world. How do you know it's for you? Sometimes when a person prays for something specific, even though it's very bad for him, he gets it. Because the Torah says, "Bederech she'adam rotze lilech molichim oto." The way you chose to walk, the path, Hashem is going to walk you through. You decided to be a murderer, who's going to help you to aim the gun to the right target? Who gives you the oxygen? Who gives you the talent to catch a driver, to run away, to escape from the police? Who helps you? Hashem maintain you. It's maintenance. Hashem takes care of your work. Why Hashem didn't interfere with this bad thing you're about to do? That's what you chose. That's what you're going to eat. It's your choice. So therefore, never ever to pray for something specific. Just pray, Hashem, please make my shidduch come, help me find my soulmate right away. I want to establish home. I want to have good kosher home. I want a good guy. I want a Talmid Chacham. I want whatever you want from your man to be. Let's continue. What else? It's very important. It's very important to be, when a woman gets married, it's very, very important to be supportive of her husband. Very important. If the husband come home and after very serious, sometimes there's a lot of problems at work, especially people who work with money, business, meetings, pressure, there's a lot of headache. Then it's very important when the husband comes home to sit together and eat. And even if he told you that he ate, he went to dinner with one of the people in his office, just to eat dessert, something, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, to sit and eat together. When two people sit and eat together, they become friendly. You should know that. That's the secret in America. When you want to sell a deal, you want to sell a building, you take them to dinner or to lunch. Why? What's the food has to do with the building? Here is the building. You like it? Take it. Why do I have to buy you steak? When two people eat steak, they become friends. That's why the Torah said that the Jew is not allowed to sit with a non-Jew and eat with him. Why? Because you become like him, you don't realize. And if he cooks the food, his personality goes into yours when he eats his food. That's why we need Bishul Israel, and it's getting even better. Not only that, the Torah said that someone that is a Talmid Chacham is not allowed to sit with Amei Aratzot and eat with them in front of them. You should know that. He should isolate himself and hide somewhere and eat. Why? They get connected spiritually. Talmid Chacham is a very high level. Someone from the shuk doesn't know Aleph Bet. They sit and eat together. They become spiritually connected. So eating together, it's a secret. You sit and eat with your husband even 5-10 minutes a day. Perfect. It's going to be very good. Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul, one of the greatest Chachamim, lives in this generation, Persian. He passed away 10 years ago approximately. A huge Mekubal, huge Talmid Chacham, and the best, a perfect human being in his personality. Perfect. Humble. Baal Chesed. Such an amazing character. And he was sitting with his wife in a kitchen, cutting the okra for her, speaking to her about the phone bills. So, how many phone calls you made this month? No, just to find something to talk to her about. Believe me, he didn't care about this. He knew, you want to have great marriage, you have to be friends, not only husband and wife, friends with your wife. Sit together, how was your day? Never, the husband, never to say, wow, what's this mess? Why the toys are all over? You have 2 maids, you cannot pick it up. What's going on here? All these comments. And if you get that, you got to tolerate it. You have to understand, most of the things that the husband says to his wife, 90% of them, they don't even care about it. It's just they're frustrated from something else. They want to take it out on someone. What, is he going to scream at his boss? So he screams at you. That's really what's happening. 5 minutes later, you're going to come, hey, it bothers me that what you just told me about the house is not clean. He already forgot that he told you 5 minutes ago about the house. You think he really cares about the house? He goes to sleep in 5 minutes. Tomorrow he goes back to work or to the yeshiva. He cares, the house, the walls, this, there's a leak, why he didn't take care of it. That's really not what he cares about. I want to tell you a story. I had a friend, we're not in touch anymore, unfortunately, because he's not in America anymore. He went to Eretz Israel. His name is Rav Yaakov Stefansky. That's his name. What's special about this Rav Yaakov Stefansky? His wife was the head of one of the yeshivot for girls in Monsey, Bet Rachel, Bet Yaakov, I think Bet Yaakov. So about 5 years ago, no, actually 6 or 7 years ago, something like this, she passed away from cancer. She was an unbelievable woman, like such a righteous woman. Everybody in Monsey went to a funeral, more than 1,000 people that I saw right there. And everyone was crying non-stop, like floods of tears over there. All the girls, I'm telling you, almost everybody showed up to that funeral. What was so special about this woman that everybody liked her so much? I didn't know. And at the time of the funeral, I didn't know. He was saying the eulogy on his wife. He was saying some of the things. And then one time he came to my house and we sat together and we spoke for about an hour. He told me something that I never get to forget in my life. It's made such an impact on me, what he just told me. He told me when I came to the hospital, she was dying, she had a day or two to live. Was connected to all these machines. And she was opening her eyes. Very difficult for her to open her eyes. She used to say, what are you doing here? Why are you not in a yeshiva learning? Came to be with my wife for the last day or two of her life, tried to say goodbye to her in a nice way. She tells me, why are you wasting time here? Go learn. It's a waste of time. Learn Torah. Now he told me something, I don't know. I mean, if it wouldn't be him, I would never believe that it's possible in this generation. But since he's a very big tzaddik, this person, very big Yireh Shamayim, for sure he's not lying. And he told me like this, for 30 years, since I married her, from the day I met this woman until today, I never went once in my life inside a store. I did not enter a store, not once in my life. No supermarket, no clothing, no office, no nothing. Never. 5 years. I was in the attic, in the house, not coming down, only to the bathroom. Nothing. I was calling her from upstairs. You managing the mortgage, the rent, the kids? Everything is fine. She said, everything is fine. Only after I came down, I found out she's months behind the mortgage. She's struggling, fighting to pay here, fighting to pay there, taking care of the children. She said, I don't want this world. Prepare the world to come for us, like the wife of Rabbi Akiva in this generation. So he says, now why he's telling me this story? Because he comes to me now and says, help me out. I have all these bills, all these things, checks. I do not know. Never touched a check in my life. All I did in my life is Torah. I was walking with 2 pairs of tefillin, small ones, under his hat. All day, Torah and davening. That's all. All his life, this person. Unbelievable. In this generation. So now you wonder, so why Hashem took her? Instead of taking 10,000 Jews, he took one. Where does it say it? In Shir HaShirim. Dodi arad legano, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes down to this world, lilkot shoshanim. He has thousands of thorns, 1 rose. He picked the rose. 1 rose equal like 1,000 of thorns. We are the thorns, and he is the rose. She is the rose. Instead of Chas v'Shalom bring us disaster like in China, in Iran, 60, 70,000 people in earthquakes for their sins, he take one righteous one equal like many others. You should know one thing. When the Torah say Yachid ve'Rabim, Halacha ke'Rabim, single and plural, Halacha is like the plural. The Torah never spoke about quantity, only quality. What's the proof? Shulchan Aruch, the major book of Judaism in Halacha, Shulchan Aruch. Rabbi Yosef Karo wrote it 500 years ago. He had in his generation, previous generations to him, hundreds of huge rabbis. Rashi, Tosfot, Ran, Meiri, so many big, huge rabbis. What did he do? The Torah said that when you have so many opinions and many different approaches, you gotta see and go by the majority. If 50 say yes and 40 say no, go with the 50. That's what we thought. He only took 3 from the entire list. The Rif, the Rambam, and the Rosh, 3 major top rabbis. He said they are the highest level. From 3, I'm going to go with 2 against 1. So, many rabbis say, what do you mean? But there's many others. He said, with all the respects to all the others, the Torah didn't mean quantity. A Jew goes by his quality, not by quantity. And what's the proof? If you have 1,000 doctors have to write their opinion about a certain unique sickness, 999 of them has 5 years experience in medicine. And one is a specialist from Japan, 35 years in this field. He saw all the scenarios, all the cases. All the 999 says to operate from the right. And this specialist say no, to operate from the left. Who should we listen to? 35 years experience, he saw all the scenarios, or 5 years experience, each one of them? What do you say? Specialist. And that's happening every day. What do you think? Many local doctors will tell you something until you get to the right top one. His word, nobody cares what they said. What you go by him. The same thing in the Torah. If I'll tell you something, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef will tell you the opposite. And 5,000 people like me will tell you the opposite of Rav Ovadia. Who should you listen to? End of story. So you see, a Jew, it's quality, not quantity. Quality. If you are in a higher level, it's a different league. You know, there is 2 categories when you make a sin. When you make it only to yourself, no. You try to correct, you beg Hashem, Yom Kippur, all your life, maybe Hashem forgive you, it's possible. However, there are sins that a person make others commit, and there is no way to find them. First, to ask them mechila, to forgive. Second, you don't know who committed a sin because of you. Well, you think when you walk in the street, you can control how many guys look at you in an average day? One time a person had a party, and they were arguing. And the religious guy told him, I don't understand how you allow your wife to go on a pool or in the beach with bikini. How does the religious guy tell the non-religious guy? I would kill myself not allowed such a thing. It would be the last day of my life knowing my wife dared to do such a thing. I couldn't live anymore. Just from the embarrassment, just thinking about it, I become sick. So the other guy said, you crazy? Well, who cares how she dressed? What is it your business? So he asked him, I want to ask you a question. Right now we are in the party. Go tell your wife to wear her bikini and come in front of all the guests right here in the living room. 300 people in the living room in the house. Tell her now to do it. So the guy said, you crazy? What is this? What, you have yarmulke? Take your yarmulke off. You fake. So the guy said, your ears should listen to your foolish mouth. When I tell you, bring your wife right now like Vashti in front of everybody, you think I'm crazy. Tomorrow she's going to do it in front of 10,000 men on the beach. Over there you don't care. What's the difference? It's the same wife, the same sin, the same psychos around her. Over there it's worse. Why over there it's kosher for you and over here it's a disaster? Because you're a fool. Because you don't live by the truth. If that's a disaster, it's a disaster everywhere. It's a disaster everywhere. According to Kabbalah, a woman that is not modest, every man that looks at her and enjoys from her beauty, her husband loses from his parnasa. Why? Because the wife and the parnasa in the upper worlds come from the same branch and the tree of life of Hashem. And that's why the Gemara says, a woman that is modest, she's having a higher chance to have righteous kids. Why the generation is kids that almost none of them is in the right direction? Why? Because none of the ladies are modest. If the ladies would be modest, then we will have the children we used to have 40 years ago. In my lecture in Manhattan last night, I show pictures of images that camera detects in the space. Images of souls. Probably maybe watched it on the website in one of my lectures. It's called Life After Life. So all of a sudden I realized that I had showed them a picture from the 19th century, exactly 100 years ago, of a family of non-Jews. Men and many ladies. Maybe 15, 20 people in a picture. So I told them, just pay attention the way the non-Jewish ladies are dressed. 3 generations ago. Each one of these non-Jewish ladies were dressed more modestly than the Rebbitzin today. The Goyim. Now you understand how down we are sinking. I have a clip, a film from Hungary, 1933. The first Zionist women in Hungary that became not religious. Secular. They dance together with the men in circles. Man, lady, that's how they dance. I looked at the way they dress. Skirts like this. You could not see an inch from the body. You cannot see the image of the body, nothing. They dress so modest. They are sinners. They go to dance hora together, but they make sure nobody will see an inch from their body. You know the story with Solika in Morocco? You heard that story or not? In Morocco, in Muslim countries, the Arabs used to come to the Jews and harass them. Always. One of the ways they used to harass them is they used to come and steal their daughters. The Jewish girls were very pretty, and they want to take them to their son. For them, it's like a double achievement. First, they got a good wife. Second, they make a Jew Muslim. They force her to convert to Islam. So the Jews, what they used to do is they used to take the children and marry them when they're still very young and have a ketubah. So when the Arab comes in with his son and he wants to steal one of the daughters, their father used to come and bring, she say, here, she's married. She's married. Oh, married? The Arabs up to here. We can kidnap girls. We can do many things. Touching a married woman, we're not going to do. So they used to leave them alone. One time, they came to this girl called Solika. She is now buried in Morocco. Even the Arabs praying next to her grave because of the story I'm going to tell you. What happened to her? The prince liked her. He saw her and he said, that's going to be my wife. They came to the father, say how much money you want, we'll give us your daughter. So the father said, no, we can't. No matter what he said, it didn't help. They said, we're giving you only one choice, not two. To convert to Islam and marry me, or we'll kill you. We cannot leave you alive. You have to make a decision. She said, no, I cannot convert. 1 month, 2 months, they putting pressure on her. They try to give her all kinds of bribes to agree. She refused. So then they told her, listen, by tomorrow afternoon, if you're not converting to Islam, we're going to tie you to a horse, and the guy will ride on a horse in the middle of town and drag you. And remember, it wasn't roads like here. It was full of stones, holes, thorns, mud, everything you can think of. He will drag you until you die. The day came, all the people are crying. It's pikuach nefesh, please. She said, nothing. I'll die, I'm not going to convert to Islam. They tie her to the horse. The guy begins to run. The horse is running around. After 2-3 minutes that she's full of blood all over, she says, stop the horse. So they stopped the horse. They were happy. Finally, she agreed. They didn't want her to die. He wants her for his son. She say, I need a safety pin. I say, safety pin? What do you need a safety pin for? She's almost dead. She needs a... No, don't ask questions. Bring me a safety pins. They went and brought safety pins. She took the safety pins. She had her skirt flying in the wind while the horse was dragging her. Her skirt was coming up from the wind. She didn't want the people to see her legs. She took the safety pin and the skirt and made a hole in the skin with the safety pin that the skirt will not fly, that the Arabs that standing by will not see her legs. You understand what she was worried about? Moments before her death, that 5 minutes the goyim or the people standing over there will not see her legs because the skirt is flying. That was 2 generations ago. 2. That's it. 2 generations ago, a woman, moments before she dies, suffering hell, her mind was, people are looking at my legs. Look at the street today, what's going on. Safety pin? The girls compete, who's going to be more provocative. Now remember, if there was no punishment, if there was no outcome, if it's not going to ruin our families, if it's not going to ruin the future of our children, then who am I to tell you what to do? But what we have to think is, does it pay to lose so much from gaining so little? What is a girl gaining really? What does she care if Ahmed or Tony or Chris on the street looked at her? Did he give her anything? Only problems. The more people are looking at her, the more she's going to be responsible for all their sins. Why would she want to do such a thing? Ignorance. People don't realize the damage that they made to themselves. I'm not talking about the entire damage to the Jewish nation, as a nation. One thing you should know, the grandmothers in Iran or in any other place that you want, they were worried not to show one piece of hair, one. I have a friend in Muncie. His mother passed away only 6 months ago, maybe 10 months ago. Persian, Kashani. You can go and check if I'm right or wrong. Whenever I used to visit his house, his mother was approximately 80 years old. Every 5 seconds, she was making sure the hair is covering the head. 80 years old. And an old woman. Only Persian she speaks. She's in her corner. You cannot see an inch from her body. Nobody comes to this area where she is. Make sure all the time that she's 100% tznuah, modest. We lost it, that's the problem. Now, why people used to be very modest and today they're not? One of the reasons is the media. A person wanted to make a scene 40, 50 years ago, he had to travel a year to make the same amount of scenes that he does in 1 minute in front of the television. What a person sees in 1 minute when he watched the television, in 1 minute, 50 years ago, he had to travel 1 year to gain the same amount of sins. And I'm not exaggerating. It's a disaster. Now remember, tomorrow you're going to go on a shidduch, a guy that learns Torah, is Baruch Hashem, respectable human being, is going to tell you, I don't want television in the house. Some of you will disagree. What do you mean? We're in the 21st century. Do you know any house without 6 televisions here? Okay, so I only want 2, not 6. Now you remember one thing. If you will let the television comes into your house, no problem. You may see it and enjoy watching movies, news, whatever you do. Remember, you're taking a huge risk. Because the nature of a man is always comparing his wife to other ladies around him. If you bring him the television, there's 2 problems here. First, he's going to see non-stop ladies in one evening, one after the other. And in television, they choose only pretty ladies. They don't just show ladies on television. You don't see ugly people on television. They always choose the best people on earth. If you want to go into competition, especially after you just gave birth or you're not so, happy in this week for whatever reason, if you want to compete with all these girls you invited to your living room, It's your choice. If I would be you, I wouldn't want to do it. Or magazines, or going to the theaters. You don't understand the damage. You do not understand the damage. The Torah say, we say in Shema Yisrael every day. What do we say? Lo taturu achre levavchem v'achre einechem. Do not follow your eyes and your hearts. Asher atem zonim acharehem. What's the word zonim means? It's coming from sex crimes. The word zonim is zona, prostitute. Where this word came from? Prostitution. Why the Torah didn't say other things? There are many, many other sins that we can do. The Torah say, watch your eyes. It will lead you to acts of prostitution. Watching, looking, doing, all these things. That's what the Torah says. So Hashem wanted to show you these sins and cheatings and all these problems that we have today in the world starts with looking at things that you're not supposed to look. You look, 50% of the sin is right there. The Gemara says, Kashim irurei avera yoter me'avera. The thoughts about the sin is worse than the actual sin. Because when a person goes to make a sin with a lady, it's an hour and it's over. But if he thinks about her months, is millions of sins in his brain, contaminate his soul completely. So the thoughts sometimes is worse than the actual sin. So, the Gemara says, Rabbi Meir, you heard about Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes? When you have a problem, what do you say? Rabbi Meir Aneni, Elohad Rabbi Meir Aneni, the God of Rabbi Meir Aneni. What's so special about Rabbi Meir? It was one of the greatest Tanaim we ever had in history. One time his sister-in-law was taken hostage by the Romans. They put her, unfortunately, in prostitution house. They want to sell her to be a prostitute. The wife of Rabbi Meir runs to her husband, go save my sister. Take the money that we save, run quickly to that place, buy her out, bribe the guard, bring her back before it's too late. Rabbi Meir went to this place, and he saw a guard standing. Yes, can I help you? He said, yes, I would like to go to, I'm a customer, I would like to go to this woman. He doesn't know who he is. Oh yeah, okay, how much? He pays him, he goes inside. Now he puts a custom, she doesn't recognize him. So he said to her, okay, I heard that you're a very pretty girl. She said, no, I'm sorry, sir, today you came in a bad time, I just have my period, you know. So Rabbi Meir realized right away that she probably tell that to everybody that comes. So he said, okay, if that's the case, it's worth for me to release her. But if she agree for another man to touch her, she doesn't deserve me to save her. That was his opinion, Rabbi Meir, one of the greatest rabbi ever lived. He came out to the guard, he said, listen, this is 50 coins of gold, I will give it to you, I want to take her with me. The guard told him, 50 coins of gold and to be dead? What do I need this? And they're going to kill me. When they come, they see she's not there, I'll be dead. Rabbi Meir told him, no, don't worry. You see that dog over there? Oh, he told him, you know what? When they come to touch you, just say 3 times to God, the God of Rabbi Meir, save me. That's what we say, that's a sgula. The God of Rabbi Meir, save me. The God of Rabbi Meir, Elohad, Rabbi Meir, Aneni, 3 times. So the guy said, you're laughing at me? What is this, a joke? So he said, you don't believe me? You see this wild dog over there? Release the dog. Send the dog to attack me. The guy sent the dog is running to rip Rabbi Meir apart. Rabbi Meir stands like this, Elohad, Rabbi Meir, Aneni, 3 times. The dog came, bowed down to him, did not touch him. Said to the guy, see? The guy said, give me quick the money. Give me the money. If it helped the guy or not, the Gemara stopped right there, I don't know. But he released her. But the idea is, Rabbi Meir said, if she's not a used product, it's worth for me to save her. Now you have to know one thing. Everything Hashem made has a purpose. We know that. Everything that Hashem made according to His purpose, that's how He made it. For instance, Hashem made water soft. It's flowing everywhere. It's going from the hills down. The entire system is exactly according to the plan in the creation. One of the things that Hashem did is He made men and women different. There is one major difference between a man and a woman. That when a man is a used product, nobody can tell. But when a woman was used once by another man, everybody that will follow after to marry her will know that somebody else was with her before. Why Hashem made it? Because Hashem wanted a woman to be with one man from the first time that she got married until the end of her life, one man in the entire life. That's the ideal. A woman that in the state of her marriage, she's a virgin, she worth double, the Torah give value to people, than a woman that she's not. Plus, there's many other things apply to it. But the thing I want to highlight is like this. If Hashem made a woman, was created with a special mark in her body, with a seal, not to be used with another man, that means it was very important for him that the ladies will be modest. If it wasn't important, he would make her like the man. Why the man doesn't have it? Because the man, according to the plan of God, was allowed to marry more than one woman. Therefore, it doesn't matter. Since Hashem allowed the man to marry more than one woman, even though we hardly ever took advantage on that privilege, Jews hardly ever marry more than one woman. Only very few nationalities like Yemenites and others did it. Most of the Jews never wanted to do it. And the fact that the Torah permitted that, that's why the man was created the way he is. But the woman was not allowed more than one husband. What's the word husband in Hebrew? Ba'ala. What's Baal means in Hebrew? Owner. The owner, Baal. You ask, who is the owner of the car? How do you say? Mi Baal HaMechonit hazot. Who is the owner of the car? Baal HaOto. Baal HaIsha. The husband. The word Baal have three meanings. One, husband. Second, owner. Third, a person that had relation with her for the first time. That's the meaning of the word Baal. Not that many ladies knows it. How many ladies today, unfortunately in the world, their current husband is really the Baal of them? No. Most of the time it's not the case. Then they wonder why there's 70% divorce. Then they wonder why there are so much tensions and problems in a marriage. Then they wonder why the kids are so much chutzpah. Why the house is not moving in the right direction. Everybody think, what's the reason for all these tragedies that happen? To all this agony and pain in almost every family in the Jewish world today? Is it coincidence? What we have this generation we never had 40, 50 years ago. What was the divorce rate in the entire Jewish world 50 years ago? Not even 1%. Not even 1%. Who got divorced? Who? I'm not talking religious rabbis. Even those, I remember in Israel when I was a kid, 30-something years ago, we didn't have not one kid in the entire class that his parents was divorced. One time it happened, everybody knew this kid, his parents is divorced. It was like a shock to the entire school. Who smoked in 8th grade? One kid. The entire city where I grew up was talking about this kid, 14 years old, that he started to smoke cigarettes. Today, 8th grade, drugs, cigarettes, knives, guns. They have metal detector. Why the kids like this? Because the parents went down. The parents, the mothers go down. That's why she have kids like this. Nothing is coincidence. Remember, I know I'm saying things that you probably never heard in your life. It's maybe too strict to you. It maybe sound fanatic. I want to assure you, not one word of what I say, it's an exaggeration. The opposite, I'm hiding a lot of the truth from you because I know you're not going to be capable of accepting it, especially not in one night. But the point of this night is to wake us up from this illusion, from this dream that we live in. You want a good husband? According to who you are, that's how your husband's going to be. Where is the Gemara saying it? Amar Rish Lakish, מזווגים לו לאדם זיווג לפי מעשיו. Simple translation. A person receives a zivug, a soulmate, according to who he is. So if you are half religious, you're going to get a guy half and half. You're 70%, you get 70%. You are 99%, you'll get 99%. That's normally how it works. We never found a big rabbi, Talmid Chacham from the yeshiva that married a prostitute from the street. I don't remember it ever happened in a history. Never. We never found someone very, very educated marry a girl that doesn't know Aleph Bet, or the other way around. We don't see it. We see poor people marry rich people because it's not so important. Today, people will kill for that. But in the old days, nobody cared. No, the Parnassah comes from Hashem. Today, why we have in our community more than half of the people older than 30, 35 years old that are not married? An epidemic. Everywhere you go, 40, 38. Every day I get 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 phone calls. Can you help my cousin? Can you help my nephew? How old he is? 38, 42, 45, 35, 39. What's going on here? Why these people didn't get married? You know what one of the reasons is? Because they made a decision in their mind. To be poor, I don't want. So what's my choices? If I'll find somebody wealthy when I'm young, of course I want to get married. If I won't, I don't care. Another year, and another year, and another year. In the end, she's 36, 38, 39. Soon it's going to be over. Nobody will want to marry her because people want kids. She doesn't care. She will go only after the house. She want to be like her sister, like her cousin. She has a big house, 5 cars. She's going to do it only for the money. And the Torah says someone who marry a wife for her money or the other way around will never have blessing in their life. Unless if they came after him and offered him the money. That's what the Gemara says. If a person sits and learns Torah and one day a father, a wealthy guy comes and says, I want you to meet my daughter. I spoke to your rabbi. Don't worry about money. I'll pay all your needs. I have enough money. I want you to sit, learn Torah. We'll buy you a car. We'll buy you a house. We'll buy you everything. He didn't run after him. He came to him. He's allowed. But if he goes after her for her money or the other way around, this marriage will not be successful. And there will be problem with the kids and with the parents-in-law, as you can see it all over. Why? Hashem is the truth. And Hashem gave us the laws. I am giving the money to the people, not the father-in-law. You know, one father-in-law, he wanted to meet his future son-in-law. So finally they made a meeting. So he told him, hey, you have money to get married? He said, Hashem Yazor, Hashem will help. He said, you bought her a ring? He said, not yet, but Hashem will help. Hashem Yazor. You have a car? Hashem will help. You have a house? Hashem will, listen, my daughter, she's not used to simple life. You know, look where she grew up. Don't worry, Hashem will help. So he screamed to his wife in the kitchen, Leah, I didn't know my name is Hashem. You got it? Okay, time is running out. We'll finish in a few minutes. Abaye, in the time of the Gemara, one time he came home and he heard 2 neighbors are speaking. How are you today? How was your day? The neighbor asked the guy. In his time, it was almost impossible to find 2 single people talking in a street. Where we live, in place when it's all fully religious, it's, Baruch Hashem, it's almost impossible to find a single girl and a single guy meet on the street and talk. It's not respectable. You want her, you go to a rabbi, you send somebody, the families, and they walk it. There's nothing like this. Hey, how are you? Hey, good. Good to see you in this party. Yes, how you been? Yeah, doesn't work like this. That's by the, in a field, the female see the male, she moves her tail, he moves her tail. 2 minutes later, they have babies. That's in the field. But Hashem didn't make the world like this. There's ways how to meet a girl. It's not a market. You buy it like this. It doesn't work that way. So, we heard that the neighbors are talking. He said, that's it. The sin is being cooked. They cook a sin here. I smell it. So he hears that the man tells the woman, tomorrow I'm going to Lud, from Jerusalem to Lud with a horse and a carriage. It's 3 days. She said, wow, I have to go to another town next to it. Maybe I can catch a ride with you. A ride? There's no lights on the streets, no road. It has to go in the forest, you know. I don't have to tell you 2,000 years ago how the road was. The rabbi heard that. He was hoping that the man will not agree. But the man was nice, and he said, okay, I'll take you, no problem. The rabbi said, no. I cannot let them make a sin. I'm going to follow them the entire road. 3 days. An old rabbi. He started to follow them, to make sure he's getting ready. And the moment that he's going to reach his hand to touch her, I'm going to jump and scream, fire! One day, only talking Divrei Torah. Tells her the word of this, the word of Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Akiva said, Moshe Rabbeinu said, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. What's going on? So far, so good. Just when they got to the intersection, when she has to go left and he has to go right, he says, it was very nice talking to you for 3 days. Have a safe trip. She said, thank you for giving me a ride. Hashem will be with you. No touching, no nothing. He goes right and he goes left. The rabbi, what do you think he did? If you would be the rabbi, what would you do when you see that it's happy hand like this? What would you do? You'll be very happy, no? The rabbi fell on the floor and started to cry. Sitting like this, banging his head to the floor. One student passed by, see the Gdol Ador, the chief rabbi is sitting here on the floor crying. Rabbi, what happened? Who died? Nobody died. So why are you crying? You see that guy over there? Yeah. What's with him? You see that girl over there? Yeah. 3 days from Yerushalayim to here, I follow them. So, what happened? The guy got nervous. 3 days, they talk non-stop. He did not touch her even with his finger like this. 3 days. So the students said, very good. So, wow. Why? So why are you not happy? So you don't understand, huh? If I would be him, I wouldn't pass this test. The chief rabbi. I wouldn't go 3 days with this girl on the road in a dark night and be successful like this guy. That's why I'm crying. It's better than me, this guy. What did we learn from this Gemara? That's what the Gemara says. En apotropus la'arayot. No one can get saved for such a test. That's why the Gemara said, one guy saw one of the girls from his neighborhood walking by. He fell in love with her. So he fell. So now he came to the doctor. He said, doctor, I have a case of pikuach nefesh. If you don't get me this girl, I die. What do you mean you die? I'm getting a heart attack. I can't take this anymore. The doctor came to the rabbis. We have a case of pikuach nefesh, life risk. Look, my client is about to die any minute. So the Chachamim say, what's the story? He wants to marry her. No sins. Real marriage. The rabbi said, let's ask her. Would you marry him? He said, absolutely not. Not interested. So the guy said to the doctor, you got to do something. So the doctor said, okay, let's go for the next step. Maybe only once a day she will come and walk next to you. She put a nice outfit. She would walk 5 minutes back and forth. You look at her from the window, and that's it. No touching, no talking, no nothing. He comes to the rabbi with this offer. The rabbi say he will die, and she would not walk in front of him to look at her and think thoughts about her. Then the next day, the doctor say, okay, he will stand beyond the wall, and she's going to stand on the other side of the wall. And they're just going to talk about the weather. How are you doing today? Beautiful day. Tomorrow it's not going to rain. I heard on the news. That's all. Talking, guys and girls. We're friends, Rabbi. What, you cannot have friends? Let's talk. So the Chachamim say, let him die. It's better that she's going to have a friend to talk to him on the phone. Remember, in the old days, there's no phones. It's the same idea. You speak to a girl without seeing her. She's behind that wall. You speak to her. You don't see her. No look. Nothing like just talking to her, hearing her voice. But since the Chachamim knows his mind is after her, to talk to her, it's already a sin. Chachamim say, let him die. No. No pikuach nefesh. The Gemara says, if a man has two ways to his destination, one short and one very long. In the short ones, there are not modest girls standing over there. In the long one, clean, no girls. He went through the shortcut and closed his eyes and did not look at one girl. Somebody like this, what would happen to him today? An hour after he crossed that path, 500 Jews with checks in their hand were standing on line to get a bracha from him. The new Gdol Ador, the new chief rabbi. He went through this place with all the girls and he did not look at once. Minimum the Baba Sali, this guy is. Come on, let's go get a bracha from him. What did the Gemara say? He's a Rasha, he's wicked. He's wicked. That's the Gemara, that's the halacha. Why wicked? Why wicked? He took such a risk to go in a place full of ladies, thinking maybe there's a possibility that he could not hold his Yetzer Hara and look. Somebody like this has no Yirat Shamayim. A kosher person don't take risk. He doesn't enter minds, field minds. He goes around. This is the criteria. This is the standards of the Gemara. Look how far we are from the truth of Hashem. Just to give us an idea, you should remember one thing, and with this we'll finish. The entire Torah, every time that God wanted to compliment a lady, the compliment was always, but always on one subject, modesty. Nothing else. Nobody praised Sarah that she was keeping Shabbat, or Rivka, or Rachel, or other things that they did. Of course, they did chesed, they were great wives, they did so many great things, I'm sure, there's no doubt about this. Whenever the Torah wanted to give Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and others a compliment, there was always that she's modest. Sarah, Abraham didn't know her 100%, even though they married so many years. She's hiding in a kitchen not to be in front of the men. Rivka, she walks. She doesn't want anyone to see her when she walks, so she covers herself with the camels and the sheep. She walks in the middle. And all the others. Why? Why? That's all Hashem cares when it comes to the lady? Apparently, yes. Now is your choice. Do you want to be righteous and earn a ticket for eternity? Work against this desire. This is the hardest thing for ladies, especially in this generation. A lady is willing to keep Shabbat. She's willing to finish the entire Tehillim every day. She's willing to give tzedakah. She's willing to come to lectures every night. She's willing to do so many things. When it comes to modesty, all of a sudden, I can't, Rabbi, I can't. It's too difficult. It's too fanatic. It's impossible. It's too hard. Excuses from here. Why? You should know. What's hard? That's your major test. What's easy? No, you're earning. I'm not saying no. But what's hard? It's your major test. And Hashem Elokim Soneh Zima. They come, Balak comes, give Bilam billions. Come, curse the nation of Israel. Hashem said, don't dare to curse them. In the beginning, Hashem told Bilam, be careful not to move, don't go an inch with them. He saw that Bilam wants to go. All of a sudden, Hashem changed his mind. Okay, you can go, but don't say a word. This is what I told you before. The way a person chooses to react, Hashem agree, comply with him. Okay, you want to go so much? Go. But to curse my nation, that's another story. I got to protect them. In the end, when Bilam saw, I can't take the money. What's the point of taking the money if Hashem's going to kill me? He's a goy, but he understands. Hashem told him, do not curse the nation of Israel. What's in the end? He told them, put ladies in the street. They're going to go and hang out with them. Oh, how are you doing? It's a great night here. You are here every night? We'll come, we'll sit, we'll have a talk. Cup of coffee. Thousands of Jews died. Why? They put prostitute on the street. Which prostitute? When the Gemara wants to define what a prostitute is, how they describe her? Who know? I don't know if you ever heard that in previous lectures.
Kedesha.
Yeah, but what's a prostitute is in the eyes of the Gemara? Like today? Who dreams such a thing? A girl that pick her skirt up to the knee. That's a prostitute. Or a girl that put bells in her shoes, that when she walks, it makes noise, that it attracts the attention of the people. Or a tall girl that chooses two short friends and walk in the middle, that everybody pay attention to her long, beautiful body. Or a married woman that go to the backyard without covering her hair. Not in a major road. In the backyard, that maybe the neighbor hanging his laundry will see her head maybe. Or the Gemara says, how they used to do laundry? And they used to go to the river and make laundry. Or there was another way. They used to make a huge hole in the ground in the mutual territory. You know, it was a building, it was like a circle, and in the middle, that's where they used to park their Mercedes and BMW and Lexus. The donkey, the horse, the camel. There were places to put their animals with food. So they all live in the houses, and in the middle you hear, ooh, moo, oh, yeah, you know, that's the life. That's how life was. So now, the Gemara says, if a woman lives in this building, the apartments, she is allowed to make a hole in the ground, fill it up with water, without getting permission from the neighbors. Everything else she needs permission, because it's not a private territory, it belongs to the entire building. But to make a hole inside the ground full of water, to do laundry, she doesn't need permission. Why? Because the way, listen to the words of the Gemara, the ways of the Jewish ladies is not to go to the lake to do laundry, because over there men passing by, and it's not modest. So the Torah say it's not stealing, it's not using public territory for your own good. It's permitted. Why? It's better to do this than to dare to walk next to the beach, to the lake, to do laundry. Not to go with bikini, to do laundry. Why? Because the guys will come to look at you over there. No, this is opinions of God. I didn't make it. It's not my opinion. It's God's opinion. In order for us to be in a normal level today, we have to know the ideal. If we don't know the ideal, what chance we have? I would recommend to each one of us, don't pay attention to the strict things that I say, like, oh my God, it's so scary, how can we do it? Don't choose this approach. Believe me, I don't recommend it. Just think about the thing I say. If you have doubts about anything I say here, challenge me. You can call, you can come, you can ask me now, you can call tomorrow, you can email, no problem. You want sources? I'll give you a source to everything that I say to you today. You should know, not one of the things I say was not correct or an exaggeration. It's exactly the way it says it in the Gemara, in the Zohar, in the Torah, 100%. You have a problem with what I say, it's your choice. Your problem is not with me, it's with Hashem. What we have to do is, the fact that hundreds of your friends around you do not behave like this, doesn't mean you also have to be a loser like this. Because in the end, you're not going to be able to tell Hashem, but everyone was dressed like this. Why only me? No, it's you and them. When you drive 80 miles an hour on the Garden State Parkway, everybody drives 80 miles an hour. I agree. Because the law is stupid to drive 55 or 60. What can we do? They did it because they want to steal money from people. So no problem. But when the policemen catch you, what are you going to answer? What? Hey, sir, don't you see everybody drives 80? It's not going to help. Would you tell it to the judge? I wasn't the only one driving 80. Everybody drove 80. The judge will smile and double your fine for the chutzpah that you have. Thank you very much. Good night.